The thing is, I've always said, I want people to look at me and say, wow, she did it, so can I. My main thing is I want to inspire somebody, even if it's just one person.
Since first sharing her story in 2011, Selina Hodge has done more than inspire just one person. Her story of survival has touched the hearts of hundreds of thousands of people.
My name is Selina Hodge. I am 33 years old, born and raised in West Palm Beach, Florida. And I was brought up in a one-parent household. My mother raised me and my sister, or my younger sister. And I feel like I have a story to tell. I feel like I've been through a lot in my life, especially health-wise, and I'm a survivor. And the fact that I first experienced a lot of my health issues when I was 24, and here I am, 33, and I have been tested, and now I want to speak of my testimony.
As Selena prepared to celebrate her 24th birthday party on December 31st, 2008, she was hit with what seemed like a regular tension headache.
It started out when I was 24 years old, woke up on my birthday, and it just started as something as simple as a headache. And as the days went by, I thought it was a cold or a sinus infection. Ended up in the ER not so long after that, being told I have kidney failure.
As one could imagine, the diagnosis of kidney failure was an unwelcome surprise. Selena says she was in utter disbelief.
Of course, at the age of 24, being told I have kidney failure, I'm like, what is that? Like, no, that can't happen to me. I'm only 24 years old. That's something, old people get, not me. So I had no understanding of what it was and why me. I just knew at that time something, I guess, serious was happening to me. But again, I never took it serious because I was still in the mind frame of that's not going to happen to me. I'll be okay. Let me just go home. Hang out and party, 24 years old. They said that they were going to keep me in the hospital for a few days and hook me up to the IV and put some fluids in to try to get my kidney functions back to normal. And that I would have to take this one particular medicine to keep my kidney functioning to a certain level. At that time when I was diagnosed with kidney failure, they really didn't have a specific reason as to why I was diagnosed with it, because there's a lot of different things out there that can cause kidney failure. So it was still new to me. I was caught off guard and I had no idea.
Selena says that her state of shock and denial caused her to believe that doctors had incorrectly diagnosed her.
All they told me at that time when I was diagnosed with kidney failure and I was given medicine, I was just supposed to take it a few times a day and it would keep my kidneys to a certain level. They did tell me, okay, you're going to have to come to the doctor like every month or so to make sure your kidneys are functioning, you're taking the medicine. Again, back to me being 24, not thinking this could happen to me. I was hard-headed. It's still in that mindset, this is not happening to me. I took my medicine, but not like I should have. And less than a year later, I had no other choice but to be put on dialysis.
Hearing the word dialysis was a wake-up call for Selena and her family.
When I was put on dialysis, which was about a little under a year after being diagnosed with kidney failure, dialysis basically I had to go through surgery and they put like a little tube on the side of my stomach, and I had to go through training for them to teach me how to do my own dialysis at home. That was another option. My doctor, one thing he did tell me up front was, okay, you can get put on dialysis at home, because at that time I was a student in college. I was a president of a college organization and I was working at college. So I had like a lot to do in my life besides just the dialysis. So he recommended me to do dialysis at home. Training was about 2 weeks. And I remember after the dialysis surgery, going through the healing process, I became sick again. Ended up in the ER with another infection. They said the infection came from the dialysis tube. I still don't know how that happened. So they ended up clearing it. And I continued dialysis. And they had to wait till the wound to heal, the surgery. They had to wait till that heal. So what they ended up doing is putting a tube on the side of my neck. And that was just very scary. That was scary. I remember crying in the hospital for my mom like a little child. Knowing that, oh my goodness, I remember being in the hospital in the ER room waiting to find out my results. They pulled the current back. Okay, I just spoke to your doctor. He said nothing you can do. You need to be put on dialysis right away, emergency. That first dialysis treatment was like the worst ever, because when it was time for me to go into the dialysis room for them to do it through my neck, I received like a huge headache. I got a huge headache that day. And that headache that I got from my first dialysis treatment was worse than my first headache when I was diagnosed with kidney failure. When I was put on dialysis, it was a wake-up call for not only me, but for my family. So I had a good support group as well as my friends. So people would come visit me all the time. My mom, everybody would stand up on top of me, making sure I do dialysis, even if she had to sit in the room and watch me, do the process. And when I went through training and I was able to do dialysis at home, dialysis is not, the type of dialysis I was doing, it was not as bad. I didn't even feel not one pain. But I can tell you it was very time consuming because I had to hook myself up into this machine next to my bed, hook myself on the machine. And it was like a 30-minute process just to get everything ready for me to hook myself up. And I was doing dialysis for 9 hours every single night for 3 years.
After 3 years of dialysis treatment, Selina received more shocking news about her health.
So I'll never forget the moments that really scared me out of my 3 years of doing dialysis. Again, 9 hours every night for 3 years. I was going back and forth to Miami, Jackson Memorial Hospital. That's where they have the kidney transplant team. They have the post and the pre-transplant. I was on the pre-transplant side signing up to be on the waiting list. Not knowing the waiting list, it doesn't really have numbers. I'm not first in line, I'm not the hundreds in line. It just depends on who needs that organ. And it also depends on the blood test, making sure it's good. So no one knows what number you are, how soon you might get it. All I know is I went to one of my doctor visits in Miami, and it was a doctor, I guess a nephrologist I've never seen before. He came in and sat in with me. He was straightforward honest. Selina, I see you've been doing dialysis for about 3 years now. We need to hurry up and work on you getting a kidney transplant because being on dialysis for so long can cause heart failure. And that scared me, that really scared me because I'm like, no, I have kidney failure, I'm on dialysis, I cannot have no heart problems. I'm not going to have any heart problems. So from that day forward, I was like, I had to take it into my own hands because I was eventually put on the transplant list, but they said the average waiting time is 2 years. I feel like I didn't have an extra 2 years to wait. My heart can fail at any moment, and that's going to be something serious. I was scared. So at that moment, I was like, I have to take it into my own hands, do my own research to find out what can I do to try to get a transplant faster that's legal and I won't get in trouble for it.
Selina did do her research, but ultimately decided to find a donor in the most unconventional way.
So I remember one day I was at my mom's house, and I'm always on Craigslist and just looking for a job. Even though I was working at the time, I was just looking for an extra second job because I was going through so much. I was still a student, I was still working at the college, I was still a president of an organization. But I feel like I needed to be more, I feel like I needed to keep myself more occupied, become more, busier to get my mind off this stuff and, start being depressed. So I was like, okay, I need a second and third job. So I would go on Craigslist looking for jobs every day on my mom's computer. And one day she was in the kitchen cooking. She's like, Selina, you're always on Craigslist. How about you post that you need a kidney transplant? And I was like, Mama, that's stupid. I'm not going to tell nobody I need a kidney transplant on Craigslist. She's like, whatever, you better do it. It took me a while, it took me a couple of weeks to actually do it, and I was like, okay, let me go ahead and give it a try. Not thinking that it wasn't gonna work. Let me just shut her up and post it. And on Craigslist, some different sections you have to pay for it. Of course, I was gonna pay to post it, so I started putting in areas like the furniture or gigs or events. I didn't care, and I think the subject was young black female needs a kidney. So I just posted it and submitted it, and I showed it to her just again so she can be quiet, not knowing that was going to change my life completely for the better.
Selina's post on Craigslist received an overwhelming response from potential donors, people sending her well wishes, and media outlets.
From the time that I posted on Craigslist to the time someone contacted me, it was less than 24 hours. I'll never forget, I was at my cousin's house after work. We were watching Transformers. I want to say it was part 2. We were watching Transformers. I think it was part 2. And someone told me midnight. Someone told me just go on my phone and check my email. And I was like, let me just go check my email. I don't have anything. Just let me check it. Boom. I get a response from somebody about my Craigslist post. And I'm reading it. The person said that they ran across my posting in the furniture section. They wanted to help get my story out. I did not believe it at all. I was really skeptical. I was like, this is a scam. But what made me go ahead and give it a reply back to the person, because I'm reading the signature. And the signature, you know, I have the person's name, their phone number and everything, and it says Channel 5 News. Okay, let me click on this link and it better take me to the Channel 5 News, you know, website, and it did. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, let me just respond back to him and tell him midnight. Let me respond back to him and tell him, okay, you know, we can do an interview. And I guess he must have already, you know, been up on his email anyways, because within a minute later, he responded and we set up for my first interview that following morning, like 9 o'clock that morning. My very first interview, Channel 5 News, my first interview ever. I was nervous. I didn't know what to wear. I threw on a wig, you know, even on my hair was done, I was like, I threw on a wig and I had to, you know, get dressed, whatever, nervous as ever, but actually kind of like excited because I'm like, okay, you know, he's giving me the opportunity to tell my story, not knowing that that one story, everybody else wants to pick it up. So within that first week alone, Channel 5 News, Fox 29, CNN, I did like 3 or 4. And I was like, wow. So when they told my story, they had my email address at the bottom to contact me. And I say less than a week, I had over 800 responses from people all over the world, even Canada and Africa, from people all over the world. The emails were just coming back to back, and I, you know, did my best to respond back to the emails myself. They got to the point where there was so much emails I had to just make one, you know, general email and copy and paste it to people. But it's like when I replied to one, it's like 10 more came through. It got to the point where I feel like I'm going to need this assistant. So eventually, I was like, okay, instead of giving my personal email that I use all the time, let me make an email specifically for this.
After her first interview with Channel 5 News, Selina says she received a request for a follow-up story. Producers wanted her to find 2 potential donors to include in this story segment.
When I first did my interview with Channel 5 News, he said that he wanted to do a second story on me because they received so many calls about my story and they wanted an update. So Channel 5 News, the same man, he emailed me and said, okay, Selina, we want to do another interview with you, but can you find 2 people that are interested in donating to you that also wouldn't mind being a part of the interview? I said, okay, sure. And I, you know, did it like a blast email. Everybody, whoever emailed me, I sent the email out to them asking who wants to interview me on this date and time. And the girl who eventually donated to me, she responded back, and then another local person responded back. So came into Channel 5 News Station and met, not knowing she was going to be my donor, met her another day at the same time. And that's when she started coming in the picture, when I did my second news interview, which is her first.
This follow-up interview caught the attention of an even bigger network.
Even though I made that one email just for the kidney transplant, I completely forgot about it. Until about not even a good 2 weeks into all this interviewing and these news, you know, reports and radio interviews, I remember I was at one of my second jobs that I had. I was just getting over it, and I got a call on my phone, and the caller ID said Paramount Pictures. And I'm like, Paramount Pictures? Like, they must be calling the wrong number. So I picked up, and the lady introduced herself, and she said she was like a producer with Oprah Winfrey Network. And I'm like, huh? She's like, yeah, we've been trying to get in contact with you since you know, did your news interview, this and that. But she said the email that I forgot about. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I completely forgot about it. Thank goodness she called me. I don't know how they get the number. I guess that's a media thing. But thank goodness she called me and let me know that they wanted to help, you know, get my story out and film my documentary.
Selina Hodge was suffering from kidney failure and had a 20% chance of dying before she could receive a transplant. Desperate, her mother suggested she post an ad on Craigslist to find a donor. Complete stranger Stephanie Grant volunteered to be that donor, and tests revealed she was a match.
So my donor, she was originally born in Springfield, Illinois, which is a few hours away from Chicago. And out of nowhere, she decided to move to Florida. And if you hear her story, she said that she did research on Florida for about a year. And she felt like it was a calling for her in Florida. For whatever reason, it was a calling. She felt she needed to be to Florida for whatever reason. So eventually, she moved to Florida by herself. And she moved to Wellington. And it's crazy, like when you hear her story, she'll let you know that this particular day when she saw me in the news, but right before, it was the same day that she was not even due to come into work. It was her off day. And they decided to go ahead and call her in. She said that's the only time that she watched the news, when she's at work. So she was just in there working, and she said, you know, the news was on telling the same old story. So just as she was getting ready to cut it off, boom, she saw that my story is going to be up next. So Someone told her, okay, let me keep it here. Maybe I can reach out to her, not knowing the actual full story. She saw my story in the news, and she reached out to me. So that's how that came about. And again, like I said, if you hear her story about, just the calling, like she felt like it was a calling in Florida. You're in another state, you feel like it was a calling in Florida. And she said she always wanted to help save somebody's life. So she always have donated blood. And she's a white female, 6 years younger than me. So, and I thought, like, just the whole thing with her was just, like, incredible. And I just feel like I've known her forever. So when we started filming for Oprah Winfrey Network, again, we're not knowing that she is going to be the one. We just had hopes, like, somebody had hopes. So Oprah Winfrey Network, they spoke to her behind my back. I didn't know that she already got the test results. I didn't know that she was good to go. And they say that the hospital were shocked that her match is so good. For her to be a complete stranger, she was like a perfect match. And so they recorded it from her leaving to come to my mom's house to tell us the news. And they played it out to where they made it seem like, okay, she was going to call the hospital in front of us so we can all find out the news at the same time. But Oprah Winfrey Network and her already knew that she was going to be, that she was a match. She came, they filmed her coming into my mom's house. She sat down, she gave us a look. She played it off so good. She gave us a look, and she let us know that she already found out her results and that she was a perfect match.
After receiving the good news of a donor match, there were still 3 phases that Selina's donor, Stephanie, had to undergo before the transplant took place.
She had like about 3 different things to do. It was a lot of different, I'm not going to say 3 different things, like 3 different phases. The 3rd phase would be the transplant. So the first was like doing like cross-matching with the blood. And then the 2nd phase, which is crazy, the 2nd phase was she had to go in and see a psychologist. They wanted to make sure she understood what she was getting herself into. And they wanted to make sure she wasn't doing this for the wrong reasons or didn't have good intention. They just wanted to make sure she was all there. And I remember going there with her, for support. We went to Miami together, and I was there in the waiting room as she went in for her test. And I I even said, hey, it's a psychologist, not thinking anything. A couple of weeks later, she called me, letting me know that they told her that she was denied because they got a hold to our story, making the news and Oprah Winfrey Network. They thought maybe she was doing it, for the attention and for money and stuff. And I was like, wow, they denied us. And the fact that I came there for the appointment with her, for support, they didn't see it that way. They thought I was kind of like pushing her, pressuring her. So they automatically like, nope, it's no go.
That news was a huge blow to Selina, her donor, and her family.
I was depressed. I fell back into the depression. I was like, oh my goodness, like, what am I gonna do now? Because I've always said that when I have my kidney transplant, I hope it's the time I turn 30. I said, hopefully I have my kidney transplant by the time I'm 30. When I had my kidney transplant, I was 28, like 2 weeks before my 29th birthday. So when the year anniversary rolled around, I had turned 30 for the year anniversary, which is, like I said, nobody but God. So when she was denied, I told my mom, and of course, my mom with her mouth, she did not like it. She asked me for the number. Next thing I know, we eventually got a call for them to, okay, we're going to go ahead and approve her and give her another chance. So they went in. I'm going to say the last thing was, she had to take some more testing, like the last step before the actual transplant. She said that she told the people, okay, if she passed that last testing, she wanted to have the transplant on December 13th because it would fit everybody's schedule. And I was like, okay, December 13th, perfect. When you flip the numbers around, it's 31. My birthday, December 31st. Her birthday is December 19th. So I'll never forget that phone call. We're waiting for the results. They said, okay, if you're going to have the transplant, we always tell people 2 weeks in advance. I didn't get a 2 weeks notice. I get a 6-day notice. And at the time when they called me, I was going through it because I had just lost my auntie. And she was like one of my biggest supporters. I had just lost her. So again, I was sad and I fell into depression again. And that time when my family was mourning, I got a phone call. Hi, this is Selina. I'm calling from Southern Southern Touch. We're calling to make sure you're still going to come in December 13th for your transplant. I'm like, wait, hold on. Y'all said we got to find out about these test results first. Like, did she pass them so I know? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, nobody called you? No, y'all didn't call me. Oh, yeah, she passed the test results right here. She passed it. We just want to make sure you can go ahead and come in December 13th. I said, yeah, I'm coming in December 13th. I can come in right now if you want me to.
The night before her transplant surgery, Selina says she was beyond ecstatic.
I was excited. I was like, yes, this day has finally come. I was like, can I just go to bed early and wake up, out of the, out of the kidney transplant operation? I was just like so excited. And the thing that we had to do before the transplant was the night before, we had to go to Walgreens and get some, I don't know if it's like nickel magnesia or something, some kind of medicine that make, all your insides come out. And that's how we had to clean ourselves before the transplant, which is understandable. But I remember I could not sleep. I was just so happy. I was like, wow, this day has finally come. No more dialysis, because I was told when you have a transplant, when they on the operating room, that's it, no more dialysis. So it's like, this is the time, it has come. I was just happy. I could not sleep. I was just so happy, talking to any and everybody, posting on Facebook. People probably got tired of me posting on Facebook, but I didn't care. I had a story to tell. Everybody's gonna know. So that day was like, it's just like wonderful. Tomorrow I'm going to have a transplant. Finally, 6 o'clock that morning, I'm gonna have my transplant.
Selina's transplant surgery was a complete success. She now lives with 3 kidneys and is no longer on dialysis. Her story of triumph continues to inspire others to prevail over circumstances and be fearless about going after unconventional methods for success. As a final piece of advice, Selina leaves this message.
One thing I told people when I was going through it, my only question to myself is, do you want to live? I was 24, 25. Yeah, I want to live. I feel like I have my whole life ahead of me. Yeah, I'm going to live. And I was introduced to a friend, and he taught me a lot about the Bible, and again, having faith and keeping God first. So I definitely had to change my mindset, because I realized, okay, if I say I'm sick, I say I'm weak, it's gonna, what you speak and it all in your head, then yeah, you're gonna start feeling it. So I just had to go on and say, nope, I'm not on dialysis, even though I know I had to go home to it. But going on and about, people couldn't even tell that I was on dialysis. Even when I go to my doctor's appointments, they're like, okay, who's on dialysis? Oh, you really? They couldn't tell, just look at me telling them I was on dialysis. Still kept up with my hair, still kept up with my nails, had to learn to love myself even more, because at one point I was kind of like embarrassed and ashamed. But I had to face reality. Okay, I'm going through this, but I'm not going to let it stop me. I have so much that I have to do with, with my life and everything else. And then I started to think, okay, I feel like I can possibly help save somebody else's life. If they see me going through it and I am beating all the odds against me, then hopefully I can inspire them too and change their mindset. So it got to the point where I started to actually speak out in different groups and events and let them know my story. And one thing I realize is, when I say the devil come in many forms, and the devil will stop trying to, the devil will try to stop you from speaking your testimony. I remember for some reason, every time I went to go speak, I would get a headache. When it's time for me to get up and speak, I would get a headache. And I let people know, hey, bear with me, I'm getting a headache, but hey, that's fine, I'll be okay. And sometimes, people in the room crying, I'm like, why are y'all crying? So some people like, I wasn't feeling good, but I wasn't going to go to class, but just in here, telling us your story, you're on dialysis, you have a headache, I'm going to go to class now. So I know, I actually changed, other people's mindset, and they wanted to hear like more about my story. I even spoke at a church. So I tell people all the time, prayer is real and God is real.
To learn more about Selina Hodge and her budding nonprofit organization, Saving Lina, email savinglina@gmail.com.